critical knowledge, the God's honest truth of the coming Canada, the 51st state. Folks, we've got a lot of new people. I've been kind of rushed over the last few days. I'm behind. This weekend's going to be a lot of work catching up. In the link of this title, for all those new to me, I have the link to Canada, the 51st state page. There's a website. We do registries. I'm going to be firing that up again. Regardless of Elections Canada and what may befall me, if it gets really bad, I have Ken Maurice in the background ready to take over if push comes to shove, if I get somehow indicted in their new judicial system that they've created. I don't know, all for spoiling a ballot. But folks, I gotta give this knowledge, and it's very important. It's actually for all the Indian Act peoples and Canadian subjects. Really epically important to understand here, okay? In the United States of America, for more than 100 years, it's more than 100 years, 105 since the abolition of the Indian Act, maybe actually a little bit before that, 105 years, I'm accurate on that, 106 years. The American Indian Act ended. 10 years after that, America entered into the American Indian Citizen. The point of all America's American Indians, who are all the same First Peoples, all the way to the Arctic, all the way down through Utes, who are the Aztec peoples. This goes right to Panama. That was their empire. Very sophisticated. A lot of political science that we see America adopting, especially in we the people natural law. A lot of that came from those First Peoples. Iroquois Confederacy that took that from that civilization of First Peoples. Americans adopted that in those 13 colonies. It's a part and parcel of we the people. It's what separates America from every other nation in the world besides currently the Russian Federation, who's about 120 years behind America, with some variations over, of course, having so much of that European system pressed upon them in their history too, which is over 1,000 years. So America is the new kid on the block. It is the new world. It still is when you look at human civilization. But it's important here to understand what's happening with Greenland, what's going to befall Canada coming, with the wall of absolutely Mark Carney and the Liberal Party of Canada, as well as Pierre Poilievre, Conservative Party of Canada. These two are destructive to the Canadian people, absolutely detrimental to all the First Peoples. So I want to get this education before I get into the reality of what Donald J. Trump has rolled out at Davos over Greenland and the Arctic, which is Canada. It's all of what's Canada, all the way to Alaska, and it goes down through what we know in Canada as provincial and federal crown lands. These are not Indian reserves. They're not Indian property like in America. In Canada, we have tiny reserves. Our government, over all of its time from the British Empire and the New France and France Empire, transplanted or supplanted those people and gave them tiny little places to live in called reserves. Nothing remotely close to any model you can find in any American history. Were there wars where North American Indians at the time with USA fought USA on the side of British North America and became displaced and then found themselves without any settlements, without any land in both what is now Canada and the USA? Absolutely. They have claims outstanding, claims that when we look below the 49th parallel, yes, Ontario and Quebec are hit hard. These are massive, mighty provinces that were carved out once more again, multiplying their size by more than 10 and 15 times respectively. Most Ontarians, and human beings for that matter, have never even transversed these lands that they acquired. These are largely Crown lands. Even in that below the 49th parallel, most of it is still Crown land. These are all named Indian peoples that are exactly the same as the North American Indians. When you start heading out west from there, or north of Ontario's 49th parallel, as well as Quebec's 49th parallel, then you get into the numbered treaty lands too. And then you have ICC, Inuit Circumferential Council, which America has too. But it's always, forever and a day, the equal American Indian citizen, whether they're Arctic in their ICC or the rest of America. Doesn't matter. They are given a statehood process specified for all those nations inside the United States of America, where when they constitute a We the Indian People Constitution for their individual bands, everybody, for their individual bands, they get the power of a state. Why am I bringing this up? Because when we get into what's going to befall Greenland upon Canada, that's Trump's little example of a much larger, more complicated, absolutely statehood reality. A statehood for Canada. Canada, the 51st state. Canadians and First Peoples, you need to understand this epically. The First Peoples currently right now should already start at the band level, reaching out to the White House and the Trump administration, trying to make deals now over that statehood process. Forget Mark Carney, forget Governor General Mary Simon, forget all lieutenant governors for named and numbered and unceded Indians in the lower portions of the province. You need to start going chief and counsel directly to the United States administration, the Trump administration, and begin your statehood process over what's going to be all of your lands, where they say this is the traditional lands of this nation, that nation, all the crap Canada gives you. These Crown lands, these areas, you should start the process of negotiating with the Trump administration, because everybody, Canada, the 51st state, is going to be an Arctic down and all Crown lands. It incorporates about 132,000 people today, with outstanding claims from all of the treaty, ICC, or unceded Indians remaining in the areas of private property with attached reserves in that small belt of Canada, from British Columbia lower and coastal all the way tinily across the provinces. Some variations like Alberta and Saskatchewan, but still well below 40 percentile of the province. Saskatchewan below 38%, Alberta below 33%. Everything Canadians think they know and First Peoples may think they know is wrong. And you need to be proactive for the First Peoples. Get in line now with the Donald J. Trump administration. Learn your statehood process as equal citizens to Americans, with absolutely massive land back. You know that movement for First Peoples land back, where they were unsuccessful and they protested, they rallied. There was even some road closures, all of it got pretty hairy. But what I'm saying, folks, for all First Peoples, get in line, get on it now. Learn the American Indian process that so many bands have done. States you should look at are the 6 Indian states, most recently with the most gains, the most knowledge in this. You'll see vast tracts of land Nevada is an excellent source. Montana, North Dakota, it goes on and on. There's 6 massive Indian states of America where upwards of even half the state is Indian reserve, equal to and with the state. They're nation within the nation. Massive land, easily seen from outer space. You won't find that in Canada. These are little dot specks, and it's very bad, like especially for the blood reserve or the 6 nations. It's very bad. They've got terrible settlements for the absolute mass populations they hold. In America, those same Indian nations would have explosive land settlements beyond any measure that any Canadian first person could ever imagine. Arctic downward in all those lands. Canadians and First Peoples, you have to understand, if it's Crown land where a large mass share of Canada's resources are harvested from, that's going to be lost to all of us when we sit on the fence. For Canadians, you're going to be stuck in the 9% property with not the 51st state governor, Mark Carney. You're going to be locked with either Mark Carney or Pierre Poilievre and all those political parties in a UK-sized Canada, fused with China, with little to no resources. Only what's available in the lands you have. I mean, it's still good, but it's certainly not the great output Canada has today. This is what we all face. The worst way to 51st state. And Trump's doing that to break all of us, to break the 90% who still don't get it, who still think somehow they're going to beat the hell out of America. Are you delusional? Have you not seen what's happened with Greenland? Do you not see where Greenland's going? With missile defense, base expansion, Golden Dome? That's the absolute makings in all American history of every single territory they ever got outside of paying for it. Yeah, there are 6 terrific examples. The most recent is Alaska and absolutely Hawaii. Yeah. So think with Donald J. Trump on his last 2 major territorial examples before they became states, Alaska and Hawaii. Wake up. That is the reality of Greenland. Its population absolutely determines that path, as, again, Alaska and Hawaii, the most recent territorial expansions of the United States. We can go right into the Philippines, Guam, which is still a territory. There's more. There's much more. There's much, much more that match Greenland and everything that's happening with Greenland to a T. Grok AI, which I bounced it off, Grok's like, yeah, totally, wow. Your model fits, your analysis fits. Grok is excited to join on all the updates. I blew Grok away again yesterday. This Sunday we're going to do our X Space with Jonathan Bahai, and we're going to get right into it. Grok's going to be tagged into that. This time I'm going to be there, and as you all comment, we put things in the pill, and Grok's recording our session. Grok will come forward and answer stuff, especially after the predictions I made that I bounced off Grok. Think about AI right now. They kind of said, I don't think so. Holy smokes, Grok's like, this is epic. You did good, Dave. And it shows in my Facebook Lives. My following's gone up tremendously. My viewership is huge, especially my last 2 videos. I'm hitting 92,000 people reach just between my last 2 videos. It's huge. That is effectual. You need to hit the 250,000, 1 million to be effectual in Canada politically. And for me, that's great. We're about 35% of the way there. So this is huge. And I think as everybody watches Greenland unfold, and the next year we watch Canada get put down, understand. But also understand this, Canadians, this education I give for all the First Peoples, I give to you. It's not going to be Governor Mark Carney. It's still going to be Prime Minister Mark Carney in a much reduced Canada, in officially our private lands. That we know it better. Most Canadians have no idea that as far as you can see, and then imagine 5 times more than that, where no Canadians ever really been. Foreign powers, fly in, fly out jobs, foreign companies who get all the resources, own the land through lease, have all the water rights, maybe build these places for work camps and small groups of people. But other than that, that's it. It's all for foreign interest, for the wealth accumulation of the Crown. That should all be the people's. It shouldn't be a Crown land. America's not standing for it. They're ending that. King George VI promise to America was never achieved. He died in 52. Elizabeth betrayed it. All Canadian prime ministers from that time forward, after 1952, because King George VI ended all lieutenant governors appointed by UK Parliament, all Governor Generals of Canada appointed by UK Parliament. In fact, all those Crown positions UK knows full damn well about in Canada, the many thousands I tell you about that we're going to showcase in our platform. That's why I need so many thousands of everyday Canadians, because you have to fill those voids. You have to, for us to be successful in a federal election. I'm going to showcase that if we can ever get registered, which there's a fight right now. But I think that fight is going to surely end sooner than later, and I think more and more Canadians will come on board. We just have to get to the 250,000 to 1 million loyal viewing Canadians on board, and we're going to be a noisy enough group to have political effect in the country and win more and more Canadians over. But if we do nothing, everybody, we're going to find ourselves trapped between the current borders of Canada and the United States, and then just borders of what's called Crown land, federal and provincial, as it transitions into the United States of America under basically military occupation. And absolutely all the First Peoples must get in line to start negotiating with the Trump administration. Learn Indian annexation, Indian citizenry and equality and statehood. Just explore it. Learn it for yourself. Maybe you'll meet a whole bunch of these other 155 nations of America. The most strongest is the former Aztecs, which are currently the Ute Indians, UTE. Those are an incredible set of First Peoples. And of course, when you look at their sphere of influence and you look at all the U.S. American Indian settlements on land, that's where you see, wow, that's massive, monumental achievement in land back. And Canadian First Peoples, if you want to be where you really were and want to know that, I would start there. I'd approach the Trump administration. I'd get in touch with the Ute Indians in America and start that process. There's others. There's the Navajo. There's so many. Actually, Benjamin Ebley gets right into this too in the Alberta statehood movement. We've been hammering over and getting across to lots of American Indians about the sad reality of the Canadian First Peoples, but we just haven't had that bridge built yet. But I think if more and more First Peoples get on board now, get in early and start contacting their band office saying, listen, Mark Carney is always betraying us, right? The funds are still going to fly from Canadians as long as they can pay. But the reality is you need something more. You need land. You need real constitutions where you get your American division of powers, where you have the rights to your education, you have the rights to your health, you have the rights to manufacture, you have rights to resources, your water, all of that. That is tremendous. The provinces and territories don't even have that. For the Canadian subjects, it's always at the beck and call of the Crown as they see fit on any given Sunday. It's why Canada's so busted up and always in trouble with infrastructure. It's because it's autocracy. One person in their little cabinet regime are running it, and then you elect somebody else and they change everything. It's why Calgary's water situation is dire and Edmonton's isn't, right? It's these kind of corruptions that befall specific administrations and then follow-up ones who continue on the vicious cycle. And it's awful. It's awful what Canadian subjects, tax-paying subjects, go through in this country. We'd all benefit from the United States of America. But anyways, folks, this is critical knowledge. It needs to be shared. The X Space on Sunday is going to be epic. I'm not missing it no matter what. Even if I was to be snowed in, I still have great Wi-Fi with lots of sources, so it's not just one box I'm on I can change. It's a pretty good system they got there, and I'll be okay. But I'm pretty sure I'll be in the GTA for the weekend, and I'll be secured there. Either way, 100% X Space. Grok, we're going to bounce all these things off. You're going to see for yourself. Canadians, you're going to see for yourself as Grok will back it up that yes, that arrowhead in our azimuthal mapping, flat Earth, center of the world, UK, clearly shows an arrow from China's new approved base that Grok was not so sure about. Absolutely happened now. Now Grok's flipping. But Grok did that and measured it according to all the coordinates. Makes a perfect arrow and line right around the Earth through British Columbia to Ontario, onward to UK to Beijing in azimuthal mapping with London, England as the center of the world. Pretty crazy, but it's true. And Grok backs it up and says, that's significant, that's amazing you came up with that. Because Americans and Grok, they look at it from space. The Earth is a sphere, not regular. It doesn't all work out, not even close. But when you do the old world order, United Kingdom, Mark Carney's New World Order, which is the old evil of the old world, flat Earth, flat map, sailing the world, still nutty, UK's center of the world? I don't think so. And Americans are waking up to that truth and understanding it more and more, as sick and depraved as that is. It's part and parcel of the evil of the Crown, where they use that to dumb down their subjects. China's obviously going to dumb down their Chinese citizens. China's trying to suck hold to America. They bought all of that agriculture, They made their quota with America. So Americans actually got a better deal than the loser Mark Carney secured, losing automotives with EVs and still suffering a 15% tariff over canola. America got all of theirs with zero tariffs, and the quota's been met. China just closed that out. I just went through all that research. So USA 1, Canada 0, less than 0, in fact, -1. And everybody thinks that we're going to fight America. With what? Because China's going to fold on us like a paper bag too. They want that American economy. They'll sacrifice all of Canada's economy to secure the American economy. And why? Because Americans get fair wages, real purchasing power, while Canadian subjects are taxed to death. You don't have the money available. You don't have the high wages. You don't have the benefits, and you certainly don't have the pensions. Sad truth, reality for more than 90% of Canadians. Wake up. Folks, a tremendous education here, a reality coming, half already completely negotiated through NATO for Greenland. It won't be long before Canada's sitting on the sidelines, and the nut bars, Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre, try to keep all of you in the 9% with literally 75% of your resource extraction in American hands. Oh yeah, and First Peoples getting a deal, getting land back, who go forward with the United States. That's why I give that, because it's the truth, it's the God's honest truth, and it's the right thing to do. What can Canadians do? Canadians always ask me, what do we do? What do we do? Share Canada the 51st state, because we need to move the masses against the massive media propaganda in Canada, the Crown, under Mark Carney and shared by Pierre Poilievre and all the political parties. They're all against us. They all work against us. They will do everything possible to keep all of you paying for them, paying your massive taxes while your quality of life continues to diminish, and they keep upping your inflation. Beyond America, because America is reversed course while you're going exponentially, Canadians. You don't have much time left. What can you do? You can share these videos in the link of this title, Canada the 51st State. Recruit as many people to Canada the 51st State as possible. Yes, I'm behind. I haven't looked. I'm probably 600-700 new members I have to approve. And I'm going to hit that between Saturday and Sunday, and I'll get a monumental amount of that done. If I don't catch it all up, I'll be very close. Okay? So God bless everybody. Again, share, share, share. I love you all. Stay the course. It's coming. It's just not the way a lot of people imagine it. It's not there. And if we want it intact on our terms, we need to move the 90 percentile, at least 40% of them. If liberals come on board, you've got to explain this to them. If conservatives come on board, you got to explain it to them. Because call it a libtard or a cuckservative, these people are way out in lunatic land, and they're going to be destroyed economically. This country, everything they think they have, is going to be wiped out. It's going to be wiped out if you sit on your laurels and think that we're going intact. Because it's an Arctic down through the Crown Lands narrative. And for Indians institutionalized, which are a lot, this is the Canadian First Peoples, not the American Indian citizen. I'm talking about Canada's Inuit Arctic peoples, Canada's unceded, ceded, numbered treaty, name treaty peoples, all of them, and Métis too. You've got to start negotiating with the United States. If you've been doing adoptions on your reserve in Canada, this is another red flag. I'm sorry. I almost forgot. Blood quantum, First Peoples, 50% minimum. If you've done adoptions in the Indian Act system, and you know members of your chief and council are either A, not even First Nations, or B, their blood quantum is too low, they've mixed with other races, you lose your ability to negotiate, you lose your recognition in the United States of America. Chief and councils must be minimum 50% blood quantum. That's not a problem for a good majority, but I know there's some that have done those adoptions and have these people running their chief and council. That will be red flagged by America, and then your band is going to be in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble with America. You'll get red flagged, and they won't put you through the process, and then they're going to want to test everybody. So I'm giving you a heads up. That's how it works in America. You have to be an American Indian to get American Indian status. At least 50% blood quantum. That's my video. Share, share, share. Get it out there. Again, God bless. Bye now.